with a legal practitioner who is right here in the studio with us, Mr. Jiti Ogunye. Thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here this morning. Thanks for inviting me.
Let's begin with all of the talk, the drama, if you like, the issues people were raising about the process of engaging the chairman of INEC. Is it any different from the previous processes?
It's not different. The mode of appointment is very important in examining the question of neutrality in an election in which the appointor is participating. And this issue has been addressed way back by the Jega panel on electoral reforms. But that piece of the recommendation was not accepted and subsequently was not codified. What do I mean by this is, given that the current state of the law is that a prospective chair or members of the National Electoral Commission sought out by a president and presented through the Council of State and then presented to the Senate for ratification. Therefore, it can be said and argued quite plausibly that the president alone does not appoint the INEC chairman, and that if the Senate were to reject a nominee, that would be the end of the matter. So it is fair to say that the INEC chairman and members of INEC in those circumstances will not be beholden to the president. But in reality, we've seen that if you go by our past experiences, if you go by the EU example, which was a very bad example, that indeed a sitting president can influence a lot of things when it comes to electioneering. So I think that the appointment process could be made better.
Well, while there
could be a reform in that regard. That's my submission.
Right now, is it against the law?
No, it's not against the law. What the law has given is what is followed.
The president has to only recommend, and then a whole team, like the Council of State, I think, will have to sit and agree. Do you think
the Constitution says that he consults with the Council of State?
So he holds, are you saying that he holds the right to not consult?
No. But we've seen consultations. In some of the consultations, we've seen people who are absent from the consultation. So the constitutional requirement is fulfilled. I'm not saying that thus far the law is being violated. No, that's not my argument. But I'm saying that there have been suggestion that there could be a tweak of that mode of appointment, so that the president may not need to be the person to nominate the INEC chairman.
There have also been questions around whether or not the Leonard Silk, who is now INEC chairman, is right fit. There are those who have wondered, why not just get one of those who are already inside the institution, upgrade them to become the chairman of INEC so that the culture of the organization is sustained. That's one. On the other hand, you may also want to refer to or respond to whether or not the work that Professor Amupitan had done in that area, in the area of law reforms, is significant enough to qualify him to be INEC chairman.
Now, two things. First, should the INEC chairman, or indeed we can stretch it further, members be appointed from members or ex-members of the commission, so that the institutional memory, the experience that they've acquired over a 5-year period of their appointment while they were serving could be put in good use and all that. And that we will have a brand new INEC chairman who will be learning the course, as it were, and all that. So there is that question. Now, first, there is nothing in the law that compels the appointer or the Council of State or the Senate to look for experience in that regard. That is only somebody who had served on the commission that is suitable or fit to be appointed. So it's not a matter of law. Second, the argument can indeed be made that since malpractices and problems were evident in the management of INEC in the past and in the operation of INEC, that is indeed better to go appoint somebody from outside the commission who will not be tainted, by the accusation and vilification of the past. A brand new person, so to speak. So that argument for me is neither here nor there. Once somebody is competent in terms of education, in terms of learning, experience, aptitude, and all that, I think that that person is appointable, and we shouldn't bother ourselves with the issue of whether they had gathered experience, they had institutional memory, or so on and so forth. In any case, the first ones, where did they work before they were appointed? Akpata, where Justice Akpata, Ephraim Akpata, where did he work before he was appointed? Iwu, Jega, etc., etc. So I think that, if you ask me, there is nothing that disqualifies Professor Amupitan from occupying that
Absolutely. Seat. No one has really argued for or against that in any way, manner, shape, or form. But let's go to some quick key observations. A document was put together by IAGA Africa, for instance, pointing out some key observations in the process, and I hope you'll be able to see it also on the screen, those who are watching from wherever you are. They looked at the questioning, the process, the Senate agenda, and they noticed that of all the questions that were asked, a total of 30 questions were asked. And 26 directly by senators and 4 indirectly. 4 senators were instructed to submit other questions in writing to the nominee, who was told to treat them as part of the working documents. Yes. Now, but there are some questions. 3 questions were posed for INEC independence. Election results, 4 questions. Electoral reform, 2 questions. Integrity and accountability of INEC officials, 3 questions, on and on and on like that. Quite some analysis that was made, and there was even something pointed out about the fact that not a single woman was allowed to ask a question. What's your reading of all of that?
Now, let me say that from my observation, plenary session in the Senate, under the click lights of the media camera to show transparency and accountability, are not the best for that kind of screening. The time is short. Senators who are asking questions, realizing that they are being watched at home, may tend to play to the gallery. The process may not be as rigorous as we have wished. The time available may not be sufficient to really grill the nominee and bring out the best in him. So if there were committee sessions where screening could take like 1 day, 2 days, if possible, I'm not just talking about the length of time, the quality is also important, and every aspect will have been covered, that would be better. But, because the office is also very important, we've seen in many occasions, be it the CJN, Chief Justice of Nigeria nominee, when he's being confirmed, we've seen them brought to the plenary. All the members of the Senate will be there, and then they will ask questions and all that. So it's become more ritualistic than substantive and substantial, in my view. So once it's given, it then gives credence to this whole idea, oh, this is a rubber stamping procedure. They will be confirmed anyway. They will not be rejected and all that. I don't think that the system does itself any good by giving credence to that kind of allegation. I want to suggest that screening like this can be at the committee stage, and the committee then will report to the House, and then in a rather summary fashion at the plenary, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then they are done. But the committee will have done the bulk of the work.
Wouldn't that also raise the issue of complicity?
No, I don't think so, because there can be a presumption of integrity or presumption of regularity. You know, we cannot run away from this institution. So that's what we've had. So, and the law says that they must screen and then confirm. Okay, so we can also make the argument that even the whole House, you know, does not have the integrity to confirm, because they are also politicians who also at one stage or the other pass through INEC when they are going to contest the election. But we can't sidestep those institutions. Okay. But I'm just thinking aloud that it may be beneficial to have a committee screening first. We've seen all these things. The committee hearings in the U.S. Congress are as important as the plenary. Okay. That's where the bulk of the work is done. They fight, they quarrel, they grill people that appear before them. We've seen them in the media, you know, and they can be as significant as the whole voting process in the full Congress.
Okay. Just one quick one on the INEC chairman.
Yeah.
Do you think we have a system rigged to help him succeed, or one that has a slippery slope?
Quite frankly, I do not envy him. Quite frankly. You know, when people are giving political appointment in this client or appointment like this, people clap, people celebrate. Some may even go to the church to do Thanksgiving. They've been given an important position. And of course, those positions are important. They are very important. But when it then comes to executing the functions of the office, it's usually a problem. For example, this INEC chairman that has just been appointed will run into the issue of what are we going to have in the next election. Would the National Assembly have reformed the Electoral Act further to make mandatory, because the court have severally interpreted them that, okay, these rules are in some aspect are decorations, so INEC cannot be compelled to implement them. For example, simultaneous or contemporaneous, you know, beaming of results as they are being counted or tallied and all that. RF, good. So now, if the current interpretation stands and fidelity to, you know, transmitting live via RF is made discretionary, as the interpretation currently is, then that means in the next election this will come. And when it comes, people may not remember that that's how the court has interpreted those provisions, but they will then remember, oh, this new one has come. It's not going to dim this thing live. And then, of course, just as it happened to the last one, there may be some people who do some skit to call them all sorts of names and so on and so forth. So I think that you would need to be very innovative, creative, and very principled to walk through these minds that obviously are there.
Now, a very quick one on the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. A lot has been said, and I know you have your own opinions, perspectives, and all about that one. Mm-hmm. Where do you think both the law and public opinion stand on those?
You know, the trial is ongoing now. And although a lot is being said outside the court, indeed the case is being discussed more outside the court now than in the court, which is an anomaly. In spite of that, one will still have to express one's view about what is going on. Now, let me say that there's a lot of suggestion in the public domain that the trial be stopped and that Nnamdi Kanu be released. Many people, including lawyers, senior lawyers, have called it a political witch hunt and a political trial. Indeed, some have suggested that it's the persecution of an entire ethnic group from which Nnamdi Kanu is extracted. There'll be a lot of outlandish, very, outrageous declarations and pontifications in the media. Now the trial is going on. What do I think should happen? I think that while the president should be open to suggestions for a political settlement and solution, the rule of law must be maintained. A criminal defendant has been asked to defend himself. We must shun the theatrics. Legal team being sacked, defending oneself by himself, and all that. These are these are theatrics. Going to organize protest outside to stop the trial, obviously, and to precipitate a release. All these are theatrics. There's a trial going on. The criminal defendant has the right to defend himself. If he defends himself and is not sentenced, is acquitted, all of us will be happy. If he's convicted, that does not stop the call for a political solution. I'm saying this because of this. This is not the first time things like this will happen in this country. Following 1999, when around here, a lot of people were still talking about, do a nation and all that, as the fallout of the annulment of June 12th, people have forgotten this. President Olusegun Obasanjo arrested Dr. Freddy Fasim and kept them in detention for a long time, even while it was being pretended that they were being tried in Abuja. The other person, Gani Adams, it was not Otumba then, it was not Chief then, it was just Gani Adams, who was also fighting, was also arrested. And Asari Dokubo was also arrested at some point. And the two of them, went through some kind of trial and all that while they are in detention. And at a particular time, they were released. As a matter of fact, before Freddy Fashion, God rest his soul, Dr. Freddy Fashion was released, there was also a drama like this in court. He slumped and fell on the floor, and the wife, God bless him, was saying, meaning that it was drama. And then thereafter, he was released. This will continue to happen, and we've seen them because people are making comparisons. Okay, this is happening to Nnamdi Kanu. It's not happening to some bandits who are being encouraged to lay down their arms and they're having peace accord with them and so on and so forth. I think to vindicate the rule of law, this trial should be hastened, should be accelerated, and then let's come to the end of it. Because the impression is being given, and I'm not happy with that impression, that people commit crimes in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, against Nigeria, are easily convicted where they are. Finland had no business convicting Simon Ekpa. What he did didn't impact Finland. But they found a way that what he was doing was against their own laws. And he's a convict now, accelerated. Henry Oka allegedly committed criminal offenses in Nigeria. Bolted, he went to South Africa. He's jailed in South Africa now. So why is it easy for people who did something against Nigeria, who ran outside Nigeria, why is it easier to have them face the law? And it's so difficult in our country to have this, because here people valorize criminality and deify rascality.
Well, it's unfortunate that it's a situation that you are not the only one that is complaining about it, and that has complained about it. The question is, what do we do about it? I guess that's another conversation for another time. Added to the fact that some people are calling for the president to intervene and stop the trial and all. Whether or not that's even in line with the rule of law that you're talking about is another question altogether. But for now, we have to thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Mr. Jiti is a legal practitioner. We appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Yeah.